2, 1.
Grand Rising, Grand Rising. This is the Straight Talk Morning Show on the Straight Talk Network. I'm your host, Andre Hill, and our co-host, the great Terrence Lake, up in Detroit. How you doing this morning, sir?
Grand Rising, everyone. I'm doing wonderful. Had a real nice podcast last night. Hopefully we got a lot of views, very informative. And here in the city right now, it looks like it's going to rain, but that's not going to stop the show that I got going on after this here. But everything's going great. Thank you.
All right, so the weather is okay. So you all, at this point, you have spring weather there, right?
Well, it's still summer. It's just overcast. It's going to rain all day today and tomorrow.
Oh.
But other than that, it's still beautiful. It'll be good all of September. When you get to the end of September, that's when the fall comes in. Everything starts falling apart.
All right, so we also have our co-host and engineer and researcher and co-author of the book Lucifer's Revenge, Andre Hill Jr. How you doing, man?
I'm all right, family. Peace of love, peace of love.
All right. So today is an interesting show. I was like getting excited about this one all night long. So it starts out, I did my post on Facebook on Fridays, and it starts out, good afternoon, family, tomorrow morning on Straight Talk Network at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook and YouTube. Will the CE5, which means Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, intervention by the chosen ones, also known as the 144,000, stop the impending World War III? All right, that's the question. I attended Stephen Greer's disclosure conference in DC in 2023. I see flaws in his approach. We will explain why and what Aboriginals of Earth must do. Also, the LEAP Project 2025 training video showed Trump officials detailing plans to dismember government on YouTube. That's the title. It's just go on YouTube and type in LEAP Project 2025 training videos show Trump officials detailing plans to dismember the government. It's on YouTube. Is this a playbook for continued racism? All right, division and suppression. And I had in parentheses the Luciferian agenda. The playbook for the chosen ones, 144,000, Lucifer's Revenge.net has a different agenda for balance. We will demonstrate and explain why. All right, so let's get this show on the road. So let's talk about CE5. So the United States government has been reluctant to revealing the interactions that they've had with extraterrestrials going way back. We don't know if it goes back to the 1800s or what, but it goes back further than we really know. So they can't disclose these arrangements because it's based on fraud and deception. So a lot of technology that they have received from an exchange with these low frequency extraterrestrials, all right? They have set up agreements, contracts to work with them, conditioned or pending or contingent on them giving us hand-me-down technology. So the hand-me-down technology to most humans here on Earth is still advanced. It seems that it has a magical effect to it, but it's the hand-me-down technology that those extraterrestrials, even the low-frequency extraterrestrials, are well aware of. They have transcended from that hand-me-down technology, and they're not going to give a bunch of primitive humans technology that can match up to them. Otherwise, they lose control. So at this point, I attended the disclosure conference in Washington, D.C., the one that was set up by Stephen Greer. And I talk about this in the book, lucifersrevenge.net, and my suspicions as to what was going on. But a lot of information was given. It was a good conference. A lot of information was given about the United States government interaction with these low frequency extraterrestrials. They even talked about bases down in the South Pole, where they have set up joint programs with extraterrestrials, and they're using that South Pole as a conduit to send messages out in space. There was some very detailed, informative former contractors, employees that was aware of this technology. But staying on point with the agenda, the United States government now it's too obvious. Humans have evolved to a point you can't pull the wool over our eyes anymore. So they are easing out a little disclosure here. They're allowing some of their former military people to get out and say these things without killing them right now. Because once you sign your non-disclosure statement with you, they feel that gives them an excuse to kill you because you have breached that agreement. And so in their minds, that they own you, and they can shut you down if you don't submit to their agenda. That's why I never signed off on any of their agreements, and I wouldn't even allow my son to join any of that foolishness. But for those that has, we have a section in the book that explains how you can reverse that contract because you did it under duress. And it goes and explains some detailed things that you can do and consider to work your way out of it. And you can also contribute to this paradigm shift by reading books like God's Seed by the chairman or Lucifer's Revenge. It gives you a basic understanding of what's been going on and how you're going to reboot your soul so that you won't be condemned to lifetime after lifetime of death and destruction, or creating generational curses that you will not be able to understand or not be able to break unless you make the ultimate sacrifice. So, but staying on point with what the CE5 is about. At this point, we don't need the government to disclose anything. Either you have accepted the reality that we're not the only advanced civilization in the universe, or you still believe the Bible ideology that we're the center of the universe and everything in the Bible is the ultimate truth, the only rule that there is. Then that's a problem that you have, and that's something you're going to have to grow out of through your next incarnations. So when we say we don't need the government to give us permission, we don't need them to give us disclosure, because we have the authority within ourselves to make direct contact with those beings. Now, the church system program you that, well, all you got to do is pray but call out these names that you've given us. Those names are the wrong frequency. So if you call those names out, you're praying to the wrong entities. And so in our CE5 program, we're going to show you and demonstrate, if you are ready, how we're going to make contact with those beings. And everybody's not in that state of mind, because there have been situations where melanated people, we have a video and that we're going to be exposing on some future shows, that there are melanated people that have made attempts and they didn't follow the proper protocol. So when you do that, if you go and make contact with these beings, remember, they are an advanced civilization. You can't go trying to contact them with your hand behind your back talking about, I want to do good by Earth, but really I want to do something for my own selfish agenda. You can't fool them, and so this is how we're going to prepare our people, whether you're melanated, no matter what color you are. If you're a chosen one, because chosen ones are in every culture. The supreme being don't discriminate. but a
right.
majority of them are in the original melanated bodies. And so we all of this, when you join in our collective, we're going to reveal all these things so that we can start raising the frequency as a collective. That's the only way it's going to work. You go in there with individual agendas, like I would like to hit the lottery, or I want a big house, or I want a Maserati, all this crazy, or I want to be a singing star. That's not gonna fly. You know, you got to accept the reality. All of that illusional fame and fortune BS had put the planet in the condition that it is right now. I'm gonna take a breath on this. Chairman, do you have some input about what the CE5 is?
Well, CE5, close encounters of the fifth kind, there are levels of that. And I think that's really the highest level, the CE5. But what the CE5 mean that we've made physical contact with extraterrestrials, but when you get down to the point where you've seen a UFO, but you haven't made contact, that might be the CE1 or 2 phase of it, but there's levels, and CE5 is the highest level. But speaking of Dr. Stephen Greer, he's got a group that goes out into the desert that summons these extraterrestrials. And from what I hear, that he has made contact, and there are several people with him that were there when this all took place. Now, he puts out in his programs different times where they're going out and they invite individuals, but you got to go through a certain protocol in order to be invited, because this is like a ceremony type of a situation in order to attract these extraterrestrials from outside of our solar system. But yeah, the CE5 is a real thing, and I think there's other people on this planet that might have made contact, you know, but it's just something that we have to look into. And like you say, if we could get together and get like-minded individuals out and just try to become on one accord, we might be able to make that contact. Whereas some of us have already made it in a sense, but not on that level, you know. So CE5 is very interesting. But the CE1, as far as seeing a UFO, there have been a lot of people on this planet that have seen extraterrestrial vehicles, orbs, even other than the orbs, the flying saucers, like that time in Arizona, when the governor even seen it himself and denied it at first, but then when he got out of office, then he confessed that he lied. So that's a CE1, if not 2, because it was so many people, thousands of people that seen it. You don't hear that much because they don't broadcast it like they should. But we know that the news media is controlled by people that aren't righteous, because they're not telling the truth all the time. But yeah, we don't need permission to make contact. We just have to come together and get a coalition to go out and get into that meditative state of mind to draw their attention, because they know, they see that their technology is so deep that they can see us where we're at right now, because our government has technology that they could listen to us from 3 blocks away in our house. Just point it towards the house and listen to what you're saying, So yeah, it's something that we've got to get more involved in, because this is all for our benefit. The more educated we are, the more we can bring people together and stop this madness that we're going through. They have the solution. We're trying to get to where they're at, but we have to humble ourselves. I'll land that plane.
That was a good landing there, Chairman. Hey, Junior, how do you think your generation is ready to elevate to a point where they are ready to make contact with these advanced beings?
Oh, absolutely. I think with my generation, we're gonna have to put some anchors on them. We're gonna have to put some anchors on them. They're so ready to make contact, but they've been so disenfranchised with the mundane systems on this planet that they listen. They're ready to make contact and leave Earth. That's what they're ready to do. Right. So we're in a situation where if I can paint this picture, bridging the gap between y'all's generation and mine. And with our collective, we talk about it all the time, especially on the show, making amends between both generations as far as equipping each other with the tools to sustain and maintain life on this planet comfortably from day to day. My generation and the ones younger, they're looking at this whole system like, I don't want to get up and go to work. I don't want to pay no bills. I don't want to have to work hard to do those things. And they're like, where is my ticket? Somebody beam me up, Scotty. Listen, I watch a lot of them, and all of them say, they ask the question in various comedic ways, but they always say, why did I sign up for this? I don't think I signed up for this. Like, so I was tricked to get here because I wouldn't have came here to go to work and pay bills for GMO food and all that kind of stuff. So long story short, yeah, they're ready. They're ready. But there's a good question, that I saw before on a post. There was a man talking to or let's say an intra-dimensional being, and he said to the intra-dimensional being, "Hey, how do I elevate beyond, or how do I get to the fourth and fifth dimensions, and so forth and so on?" And the intra-dimensional being looked back at him and said, "Well, what did you do with the first three?" All right. So with that being said, before my generation could say, hey, I'm just beating me up out of here, we have to educate them that no, you incarnated here for a reason. You have to master this three-dimensional realm first before you get the accolades, the cosmic accolades, the universal accolades, and the rights to go beyond this dimensional ecosystem. So they're completely ready, but I also think that we have to put in the structure that allows them to reach their fullest potential on this planet first. Because the truth is, it's just like releasing somebody out into the wild, and they have absolutely no training on how to survive, how to get along with other organisms in the ecosystem, what every step they make, a reaction they take, what type of implication or ripple effect that has on the entire ecosystem. The same way, if we were to, pollute one side of a lake here, on this planet, that has implications for every organism in that entire lake and the entire ecosystem surrounding it. So me and one of my brothers, I'm gonna land this plane soon. Me and one of my brothers were talking yesterday, and we were having a conversation about whether or not nuclear bombs, every country that has nuclear bombs, are capable or have the permission to do anything with them. I had to tell him, I said, bro, we had a colonel on the show who was an XU-2 pilot, and I asked him this very straightforward question, and he answered me. I said, does it seem like extraterrestrials or any UFO phenomena that you experienced in the military, that they have a keen interest in any nuclear implications? And the colonel was like, oh yeah, absolutely. Basically, absolutely. They don't want us playing around with that kind of fire, and we ain't got the spiritual fortitude and or the mental soundness to do it. And so, all of these countries have these nuclear bombs, but they can't launch them. They'll be shut down. The same way they shut Hitler down, the Foo Fighters did, and what world war was that? World War II?
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll be shut down. They'll be shut down. So anyways, landing this plane, answering the question, yes, my generation below are absolutely ready make contact, but we have to give them the tools where they can make contact with integrity and confidence that they're actually ready to go to the next level versus just saying, I don't like this planet, beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah. So to my son's generation, I remember when I was a kid, and the extraterrestrials, they have a policy not to interfere too much. And so, so what they do is camouflage their movement. So when I was a kid, the Santa Claus concept was operational. And so I remember some beings landing on our house. And the psychological game that in my mind was, oh, that's Santa Claus and this elf, right? But I know I'm at 72. I remember that incident. It was not a dream. There were beings that landed on my house, and they came down this pole, and then I think I went to sleep, which means whatever they were doing, they did their thing, their observation. But when I went and told my mother and my aunts and all that, they looked at me like, okay, honey. And I'm like, listen, I saw this. And they was in the dumb me down mode, where you can't talk about things like that, right? So what I'm saying to my son's generation, we're not gonna dumb you down. We're not gonna play stupid. Now there are people in our generation that still believe in the fairy tales of Easter and Christmas and the fake Jesus and all that, and they will die to hold on to that belief system. That's unfortunate, but they are like that. We're not like that. My son and I have a very good relationship, an open-minded relationship. And so I strongly urge you, if you can relate to him better than you can me, because I know my generation let you down on both sides, with the European side and the melanated people. We both, our generation let you down because one, the European people from my age, they knew full well that white supremacy was an abomination, but they still held on to it because it gave them benefits. My generation, the melanated people, just cowered out, punked out, like I just can't, I can't handle this. So hey man, if somebody listening want to start joining this coalition, how would they get in touch with you?
You can just reach out to me on my directly via email. Go to amaruday85@gmail.com. That's AMARUDEY85@gmail.com. That's my email with the less traffic on it. So if you hit that one, more than likely I'll see it and be able to respond in a timely manner. So again, that is AMARUDEY85@gmail.com.
Okay, so if you can relate better to my son, just send him an email and say, I'm interested in joining this movement of consciousness. And we don't have no rules and regulations. You don't have to dress up. You don't have to go out and hustle nothing for it. We want you to buy a copy of our book, but we don't have any religious parameters that you have to follow strict rules. The only strict rules we practice are the natural laws of the universe. Do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. Just basic stuff. If you want to, in your closet room, you want to pray to someone, do all of that, that's your prerogative. But our forum is an open forum that you put in, you get out, and then you're going to have fair and equitable opportunity. Now, there's some opportunities coming on the horizon where we're going to be building some futuristic huts, not necessarily huts, but, the chairman and I were just talking about it. And there's training. The chairman is an expert craftsman. So we were just discussing about him doing a training tape on how we're going to build these structures. So get in touch with my son. Just let him know, hey, I'm interested in being a part of this paradigm shift. And can you send me more information? And then he'll get in touch with you, or he'll set up a Zoom conference with you, ask and answer questions. But it's your generation that's going to have to make this change, because our generation is like me and the chairman, and we 2 out of 100,000. So our generation, they jacked up. They stuck, and their mentality is, I'm tired, I don't feel like doing anything. What I do recommend to our generation, if you recognize that the current system that we've been working in is flawed, and your grandchildren and great-grandchildren coming home to live with you, then go out and buy everybody a copy of this book, because this younger generation can relate to this book better than they can the Bible. So it's an investment. It's an investment into your children and your great-grandchildren. So I suggest you do that if you're tired, you don't want to do anything, or you don't want to teach them the truth, and that's your prerogative. But anyway, moving on, get in contact with my son. He'll open up some doors for you. So let's talk about Stephen Greer. When I met Stephen Greer, I studied him for quite some time before I flew to Washington and met with his conference. And I met him personally very briefly. And I got a very cold reception, to the point where I'm going like, how are you going to be the type of being you are? And here I am, a melanated man, coming to talk to you. I done spent close to $1,000 to come up to this conference, and you're going to look at me and play me off like the way you did. And I'm older than he is, by 3 years, but still, show me some respect. So as I studied their program, they got a lot of good information. They have a lot of former government employees, military, private contractors that came to that conference, and they exposed a lot of information. But what is your agenda about fixing this problem? I got a feeling that his agenda is not about necessarily fixing the problem. It's more like establishing a new religion around alien technology. And in doing that, he will handpick the melanated people that he wants to make contact with them. These extraterrestrials ain't going along with that. They have picked the melanated people that they want to make contact with. So you are a Caucasian man, and you have benefited from white supremacy. You went to medical school, you're an emergency room doctor, you made some good money, and you benefited from the medical industry, which is a cut, burn, and poison policy of destroying people versus healing them, and now all of a sudden you gonna write the narrative, So I still got issues with that, I hope he stayed positive and keep doing what he's doing. But if you want to be part of a collective that's going to follow the laws of the natural order, then the supreme being, the advanced aliens, they know who you are. All we're doing is organizing this collective movement so that we can communicate to these beings that we are civilized, that we want to make a difference, that we don't fear death, that there's something that needs to be done about these mentally deranged maniac bastards murdering babies for their political greed and land grabbing. Something wrong with this picture. So all of this confusion and craziness going on, we know what is required, what the real protocol is to make contact, to demonstrate to these advanced beings that we want to make a change. And they will intervene. Like my son said, all these people with these nuclear warheads, these entities can shut them down anytime they want, But we have to, you chosen ones, you know who you are. You need to come together and get in this nucleus right now And then we can demonstrate to the others all the way up to the equation of 144,000. We have to demonstrate to them through manifestation how we're going to make a difference on this planet. You know, you're not gonna change the DNA structure of this planet because of your own selfish and your weak insecurities. You're not going to remove the melanated people from this planet because you can't play on a level playing field. It's not going to be allowed. They'll shut the planet down. So this is the thing that I detected when I went to the disclosure conference, and I was very unhappy. I was happy with the information, but when I saw this certain structure going in place, where this man who was got the ego of an emergency room doctor, said, I'm going to choose the melanated people who are going to be in our CE5. Okay, y'all go right ahead. I don't want to be there if you choose. If you don't allow the advanced civilizations to choose those people, the wrong aliens going to show up. And it ain't going to be pretty, because they're going to do the trick bag on you to make you submit to them, because they're low frequency. They made the wrong mistakes and they went in the wrong direction when they had the option of going with the natural laws or the artificial intelligence laws. They went into the wrong direction. And so they have to prey on primitive civilizations like ours. I'm gonna catch my breath one time before we go in the second half. Hey, Chairman, any other thoughts on that?
No, not really. I know, like, some people that I talk to, when I say supreme being, they get it confused where they're thinking it in terms of God. But supreme being is just a human being that has more intelligence than the average human being. Now, when we talk about creator, which some people say God, I like to say our creator, because a creator creates things that a man can't create. A man can develop things and make things, but he can't create. He always needs something to make something. A creator don't need anything to make something. You know, the whole universe came into existence by thought, and you'll never understand it because it's infinite, but you could live in it and live your 120 years and move on. And if you have children, they'll come here, they'll see the wonders and be creative like the creator, and they'll move on too. But it's a process. No one is more superior. You just have a little bit more intelligence or more experience, you know. But the creator has it all. And we're a part of the creator. That's why we are, you know, creative ourselves.
Hey, so the part about World War III. All right. So I've warned the American government about what they're doing. And I'm going to explain this to you very softly without getting excited. Vladimir Putin was born 6 days after me. So we have a very similar personality. And so the United States government I've seen pictures of them loading up tanks and all kind of stuff to send to Ukraine to get a lot of people killed. And eventually they're going to get your children killed for some dumb crap trying to preserve white supremacy. White supremacy is an illusion. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, first of all, me and Putin thinks alike. I don't know what his challenges are, but I know what mine are. If you take my resources like you've done, you froze his resources, you blew up a gas line to keep them from pumping in resources to Russia. You've done all these crazy things. Now you done pumped up this little boy, crazy boy over in Ukraine to invade Russia. And so now, so I'm gonna tell you right now, this don't have to be top secret. All right, you getting ready to get a lot of people murdered, and that's a Luciferian agenda. They like carnage and destruction. They like seeing people suffer and die and maim. because they break them down, but you don't understand the consequences of provoking these things. I'm gonna tell you, Vladimir is gonna come back on you very, very hard. Now he's sitting back thinking what his next move is. And I strongly suggest that you stop sending our resources over there to this little crazy man because you want Vladimir out of power. He's in power for a reason. This is a communism system there, and they keeping him in power for a reason. But if you're gonna go over there and play these little head games and back up this little crazy man and sending our resources over there, Vladimir already knows where this is coming from. So if it's an old saying about if you live in a glass house, don't throw rocks. So this thing is going to be taken to a point where it will be a nuclear war. The Arabs are getting in position. They're looking at Ben Netanyahu who is a crazy ass man, and they're looking at him, and right now he's punking them out because of Islam. Islam gonna sit back and let him murder all these babies. So why would I join Islam if they're gonna do something like that? Why, so they're gonna lose their credibility. So they're sitting back planning. So you're warming up the soup for a major war. And so who's gonna get hurt? Not you bastards, not you politicians, not you Illuminati bastards sitting behind the curtain. The children are gonna be hurt. They're gonna go over there and get PTSD, get their legs blown off, have to murder people, and then they'll be adding all this negative karma. All of this is being stimulated by low frequency extraterrestrials who gets a free get out of jail card because all they got to do is suggest that you do these things if you want to stay in power and maintain this white supremacy game. So I got a video of a Caucasian man, and we're gonna play that right now. I want you Caucasian leaders who feel that you got to hold on to this white supremacy in order for you to be able to date black women or women all over the country. You've been brainwashed that you're the great lover and you got to sleep with every culture on the planet, and that ain't by doing it this way is not a good way to do it. Because there are consequences, retribution to your soul. And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm seeing a lot of videos on social media of animals coming back, and they're trying to talk. All right. So what you're doing is working on some badass karma. So for you to come next, if you've been reduced into a Caucasian body, if you lost your privilege, because we were all black in the beginning. We were all melanated. We was on the surface. You had to be melanated. So, but if you keep staying with this white supremacy game, then you'll be relegated to a lower life form. And a lot of these animals are coming back. These are humans, and they're crying out like, "Oh, I wish I hadn't done what I've done." So anyway, hey man, you got that? Can you cue up that video? This
I'd
is
like to say one thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I was looking at the internet, and they had this one caption of some people training a gorilla how to do sign language, and it took them a while to get him to do the sign language.
I saw
You
it.
seen that one?
Yeah.
And the gorilla said, "Man, it's crazy."
I saw that. Yeah, they need to wake up. You good, Chairman?
Yes.
All right, go ahead and play that video, man.
I'm officially ashamed to even be considered a white American. And it doesn't help that I'm fluorescent as fuck, as if Dracula had a love child with Casper the Ghost. You know, it's 2023, so if we can no longer identify with our biological gender, then I'm officially no longer identifying with my biological ethnicity. Because I just found out the most messed up thing. And I strongly encourage you to do your own research into this and find out your own information. That way, like, you find it out for yourself. But this is what I just learned. George Washington, right? Do you know that there were indigenous black people in the Americas, and they were Moorish black people, and that the chopping of the cherry tree of George Washington was him officially cutting off their inheritance and their history from ever being remembered, and that he had written and said that in 200 years, if we remove the turbans from their heads, the sandals from their feet, and we make them think that they are just like any other black people, that they will forget their entire history and their inheritance and the fact that they are indigenous to the Americas. And did you know that our first peace treaty ever signed was with Morocco? And that if they had wanted their freedom, they could have had it, but they were never told about it, and so they were enslaved instead. Why can't we ever... Why can't... We're the worst. Like, we're the worst. Our history is a total lie of everything. Can I move?
Okay. So I'm playing this, we're playing this video for a couple of reasons. One, to my Caucasian brothers and sisters. All right. Like I said, there's a very good chance that your soul has incarnated in many different forms, and definitely at one point a melanated form. And so, and you got caught in a generational curse and just spiraled into a dark, dark well. But you don't have to do that. All right. There's a lot of damage. A lot of damage has been done to this planet because of capitalism and greed, And so this planet, there's two ways that we can fix this planet. It's the easy way and the real easy way. The real easy way is just, allow the nuclear war to go on and just reset this planet, because these beings got seeds to every species on this planet. They can reset it and wait 10,000 years or 30,000 years and just do this thing all over again. Or we can do it the easy way and stop supporting this craziness of white supremacy or control or being a god, wanting other humans to worship you. It's a very simple fix. So, so what Caucasian people can start doing is working on a cleanup program. All the damage done to this planet, if you start demonstrating, okay, let's go clean up the lakes from the oil. Let's go from the plastics, this drowning and choking off all the new species, destroying the coral reefs, the land, the contamination, from oil. Like this one food. As soon as I get in office, I'm gonna drill, baby, drill. That technology is antiquated. We don't need that technology anymore. The only reason they maintain it is because it gives you economic resources to control and suppress people, because they have the technology to convert this oil into gasoline, which is a propulsion system. That's an old ass antiquated system. So to my Caucasian brothers and sisters, you can start working on the cleanup program, because melanated people, we don't need to retaliate. What we need now, we need about 50 or 100 years fixing the damage to us. We need to go inside ourselves. We need to learn to love each other, start developing natural resources. So even with you Caucasians, even in this life, you can get the benefits from what these melanated people can do for you, instead of taking it from them and taking responsibility for it. Like all the inventions most of it was done by melanated people, because they have a pineal gland that ain't calcified and they're in touch with the supreme being, the sun, or the aliens, all of that, So this, I strongly recommend that you move in that direction. And what this young Caucasian brother is saying, he's embarrassed to be being Caucasian. He's embarrassed because of what has been done in the name of preserving a culture that rewards you not on the content of your character, but the color of your skin. That's some idiotic crap, man. And so, that's why when I ran across that video, I play these things and interpret them from a metaphysical perspective, So on that note, that takes us in to the LEAP Project 2025 training video, shows Trump officials detailing plans to dismember the government. Now, I studied Donald Trump, and I don't get into politics, but I do get into common sense. And sometimes I wonder, this man, he's saying and doing all these things, hoping people would say, you crazy as hell, so you won't vote for him and he can get out of this thing and go on back doing what he's doing. But he had so much movement from Caucasian people that are saying that, man, we can't live without white supremacists, so we need you to be our great white hope, And so I can't imagine him still wanting to do this craziness. He's saying things like, just vote for me one more time. You'll never have to worry about voting again. So he's telling you up front, I'm gonna become an angry ass, rebellious dictator, just like the story in our book, Lucifer's Revenge. I'm gonna fire all of these people. And you gotta go watch this YouTube video. It's called the LEAP Projects 2025 training video, show Trump officials detailing plans to dismember the government. Democracy Now! Promoted this video, and also a guy named Andy Kroll with what is he with? Okay, I got the Republica, something, the name of his organization. But if you go to that, type in that particular title, it'll take you to the video. And Andrew Kroll goes in and explains this thing. So it's a camouflage document. And and how they released it early, this is the kind of thing that you wait until you get into the White House. But I think they were so set that they got this thing wrapped up, the Trump administration, that they can go ahead and boldly expose what they're doing. And so all these Trumpites are being programmed to go in and replace all of the federal government employees that are in place. So part of the agenda is to change the classification of all of these federal employees so they can easily fire your ass. That's one of the components, and replace you with these Trumpites who has an agenda to go in and change all the regulations, which will open the door to him getting his dictatorship. Now, like I said, I'm not into politics, and I've reached a point where I have a vote of no confidence for the Republicans or the Democrats. But stupid is, stupid does. That's a famous saying with, I forget the name of that movie. This is just plain stupidity, all for the sake of having a special privilege of pale skin. Not based on the content of your character. And that's what this Donald Trump is doing. Now I look at Kamala Harris, and here's a unique thing that's happening. And I'm going like, what is this all about? Now, Kamala Harris is also like me and Putin. She has the same birth coordinates. She's a Libra dragon. Her husband is an Aries dragon. And the vice president is a Libra dragon. I think I got them right. It's some kind of weird shit going on with these signs that are being allowed to get in the position. But I know that Trump's agenda, he's a low frequency agenda. He's in the third house of the astrological chain. So it goes from houses from 1 through 12. He's in the third house. The first house is Aries, which is the infant. The second house is Taurus, which is the child. And the third house is Gemini, which is like that of a young adolescent, just evolving from childhood into adulthood. So it's craziness going on. You Geminis, you know what I'm talking about. And so it's a craziness going on with that transition from childhood to adulthood, and your hormones are crazy, and you got multiple personalities. It's not good to put a Gemini in a powerful position like that. I ain't got nothing against Geminis. They have a lot of good traits, but running in a country like the United States of America, I don't think so. This is a recipe for disaster. I'm gonna catch my breath here. We're getting close to time. Chairman, you got any? Before I get to add the other points there, did you see that video?
The video?
Yeah, the one on YouTube about the training tapes.
No, I didn't see that.
For the 2025 project. Yeah, you got to check that video out. But it gives a list of things that they're doing. So when they reclassify, now this is day one with Trump, if he was to get in office, they want to reclassify, I guess, the civil servant requirements, because that holds you in pretty tight in your position. They just can't fire you, So they want to change that so he can put all these new people in place. And they have a training tape for all these Trumpites, to start. So things that you should do with abortion restrictions, they're going to tighten that down. Now, my opinion about abortions, life starts from the testicles to the vagina. It's life. But humans are not in position to regulate your choices. There's no human on this planet can say what you could do with your body. That's your choice. And the choice you make is your karma. But when another human gets into the equation and say, I'm going to tell you what you're going to do with your body, that's a violation of the universal laws. So if you make a choice to terminate a life, that's your choice. And you're making that choice based on, I'm going to accept the negative karma. And what I should be working on is, why am I in this situation where I want to abort this life? What caused me to be in that situation? Now, in my lifetime, I've had that situation and I had to pay for that karma. I ended up having a daycare with over 1,000 children. I made that choice. That's my choice, not some idiot religious fool that think their religion is the only religion and the right religion to decide what I can do with my body. But the universal laws is, whatever you do, if you terminate a life because of whatever the reasons, you have to accept the consequences as an individual. But no idiot church-going Caucasoid or Negro should be in a position to make that choice for you. All right, that's one of the issues. They want to slash Medicare, Medicaid. All of this is in the 2025 journal. So the reason I know it's a Luciferian agenda is because the Luciferian agenda now is turning up the amps on the hamster wheel to have you working so hard you don't have time to enjoy your life. You don't have time to rebel against the Luciferian agenda. So rent is going up, food is going up, and you busy trying to survive. So anytime somebody want to cut benefits, they're trying to keep that hamster wheel flying at such a high rate. You too busy surviving, and you can't pay attention to these very small percentage of mentally deranged people that wants to enslave and oppress you, through artificial intelligence. So I talked about the reclassifying so they can. Oh, and so this is the one that got me. So mainstream media is already jacked up. I get that. You know, they serve the king. But in this manual, it says when you get in position, when we fire these civil servants and stick you in these new positions to change the doctrine, don't meet with mainstream media, which is supposed to be a balance of all people. Only meet with conservative people. So that lets me know these are little signs and hints of white supremacy, Luciferian agenda, you know. And so these are the things that the white supremacy or the Luciferian agenda is all about. They're preparing for this sort of movement. Not saying that the Democrats are going to do anything better, you know, but you know, you got choices. What the Democrats will do is they're going to continue to maintain the illusion that we do have choices and that it is a democratic system, but that needs to be rooted out. You know, the hypocrisy, the lobbyists that's in there negotiating on behalf of corporate America to keep them in power, you know, all that kind of stuff. It needs to be rooted out of our government. No question about that. But Trumpites ain't gonna do it right. I can tell you that. So Chairman, that's basically you know what that 2025 plan is all about. The equity eradication. Equity means it should means that these are programs to invest in the social infrastructure of the United States government. So equity programs should be social programs to help put funds in to making life better for individuals. So they want to take all that out because that's contrary to what their Luciferian agenda is all about. So those are some of the main points, Chairman. So do you see the difference between that and what we wrote in the book, Lucifer's Revenge, a guide for the 144,000, is basically designed to give us an opposing program of restoring balance on the planet. And it's a step-by-step manual. First and foremost, to Aboriginal people, you need to get a grip. You need to reclaim your nationality in whatever country you're in, because it was ripped and it was stolen from you, just like this young Caucasian man was saying in the video. It was taken from you. You was reclassified as a Negro or the other N-word, or black people, or when Jesse Jackson and his crew in, and well, let's call us African American. That is not a nationality. So what we're working on in our program is you acquiring your Aboriginal status and your nationality so you can go sit down at the table and negotiate your future and your children's future, you know. So these are the things, that's the difference between the Trumpite program, the 2025 program, and what the agenda for melanated people by joining Aboriginal tribes. And we have a menu for that. Like I say, get in touch with my son, and he will open up those doors to show you how you can get involved in self-sustainable communities and doing things that you are naturally good at. And you don't have to work 40 hours a week, you know, waiting on to get 65 so you can get Social Security and starve to death and be poisoned by these medicines. That's the agenda. Most of you young people, y'all, that ain't making sense to you. Chairman, you got anything else to say about all this?
Well, I have faith in this younger generation. I feel they're going to, you know, make the change. You know, they're getting more information than we had access to. You know, they're allowed to be free thinkers, and they're learning so fast because it's built within them. We were restricted, but they're not. Everything needs some type of restrictions, but in order to be a free thinker, you know, the sky isn't the limit. You can just go on and on and on with your thoughts. But this younger generation, they know they can make a difference, and they're going to. And I'm looking forward. Well, with my age, you know, 20 years from now, I probably won't be here, but I have confidence in this younger generation. I see it in them, it's in them, and everything's going to be all right.
Hey, I second that, Chairman. I guess we need to turn the ball back over to that generation and let him close this thing out. His thoughts on the 2025 plan versus Lucifer's Revenge Playbook, a guide for the 144,000. Go ahead and close us out, man. Tell me what you think about all this.
Thoughts on the 2025 agenda. I think we should take a look at it from the top down first. Like you say, there's a massive vote of no confidence worldwide from my generation on continuing the, let's say, the electoral process on every level of government as it's been going for the last 100 years. In other words, voting for what we think is two different parties, Democrats versus Republicans. It ain't two different parties. It's the same. It's the right hand versus the left hand attached to the body of the elite. Same body. At that level, at that quote unquote federal or presidential level, the information's already out there. You ain't voting for them people. Them people being selected. You're not voting for them. They're being selected, right? And so what does our vote of no confidence need to turn into as far as an action plan? How can I say this? First, gain confidence in your own sovereign ability to govern self. First and foremost, we've got to get it out of our mind. I know it's an ongoing conditioning that we deal with, not just in this country, but around the world, that we have to elect a leader over us as if we're putting a king or queen in a place over us to rule. That's how we look at presidents. And we know this, at least the masses do. We know this because we put them in there and then we beg, plead, and ask them to do things for us that we know we are very well capable of doing ourselves. Right? We're very well capable of doing it ourselves. So the collective mind state of abiding by universal law, natural law, and then under that, you're going to get into contract law. Contract law ain't nothing but, hey, me, you sitting down at the table, coming to an agreement that's beneficial for both of us and everybody around us. That's simple. Everybody has the right, the natural right to do that. Everybody. All right. So when we get into the concept of, they stripping our rights from, can't nobody strip your rights from you unless you willingly agree them away. Unless you willingly agree your rights away. And you do that when you say, you know what, I want a leader. I want somebody in office that's going to do what I need them to do, what we hope they should do. All right. That leads us into our tribal nation state and a reclamation of indigenous nationality. Now, that is specifically for melanated indigenous people around the world. But what you're going to find is, especially for Caucasian people, there is benefit in that for you as well. Just watch how we reinstitute the natural ways of government that we had in place prior to colonialism. Because mind you, y'all didn't invent government, we did. We've been doing this for a very long time. All the good styles of government were template of our styles of government. And our styles of government are always in harmony with the ecosystem. That's how we get down. It's a program we've been running for thousands of years. So watch how we do it, and you'll find your roadmap there. The 2025 thing, project, what's it called? Project 2025.
Yes.
Let's just pay very close attention. We shouldn't be looking at it as Trump gonna do the right. Trump is a better option for us versus Kamala. Again, like you said, we got to vote of no confidence for either one. The best we can do is pay very close attention to what policy they're going to try to get you to agree to. Basically, they're going to say, "Hey, this is how we want to govern over you. Do you agree? Yes or no? That is the simple. That's a simple. The simple communication on that. That's all that's happening. Do you agree to it? They're gonna make it look like you ain't got much of a choice, but you do. You always got a choice. You always have a choice. But we're gonna pay very close attention to the chess moves that they're gonna make, and we're gonna make countermeasures. We're gonna launch countermeasures that again that are beneficial for you, your family, and the ecosystem. And then also, what we should be getting in the state of mind of is launching initiative offenses. Yeah, I can't sugarcoat that. Initiative offenses. In other words, don't wait till somebody attack you to make your move. Make some moves first. We got to be proactive about setting up our our own ecosystems, our own jurisdictions, our own self-sustainable microcosms. We got to be proactive about it. We can't be waiting on what they're going to do before we act. Right? Of course, we want to respond. We want to defend ourselves, but we need to be proactive. As far as Trump removing people out of office, let's look at it objectively, very objectively, non-emotionally. First look at it with the mathematics and see what it is for exactly what it is, and then respond to it, and then we'll feel how we feel about it after the fact. Feel how we feel about it later. But first things first, they're making very strategic, non-emotional moves, and we need to be we need to respond in kind. We need to respond in kind. With all that being said, I think we're gonna be all right. I think we're just gonna be just fine. I don't even want to put it out there like a fear factor. Ain't nothing to be scared of. These people put their pants on the same way you do. They human beings. It's just they've been very good. They've been running a program of convincing you that they got more power than you for about a good 3,000 years. So they kind of refined that technique. But it is still a very fragile technique because it always takes ongoing maintenance for them to keep it going, right? If it was a sustainable tactic, they just cut it on, let it run, and they wouldn't have to worry about having to have somebody constantly updating the program on it. With that being said, you've got way more power than we're realizing. Way more power, and like Chairman always say, we got to come together. We got to come together. That's the biggest and the most effective combat to that. So long story short, landing this plane. Don't be afraid of Project 2025. Let's just be smart. Pay attention to what's happening. As far as Kamala goes, I ain't gonna lie. Right now, I just don't trust her. I don't trust her. I just don't trust her. Yeah, she's got way too much of a track record that is counterproductive to melanated people in general. I mean, there's some things that she's done, but the other things that she's done her bad outweighs the good, to say the least. Her bad outweighs the good. And there's too much ruse in her campaign for her to be trusted right now. As far as her policy goes, again, we got to be strategic, not emotional. First, just look at what she's offering, look at what she's saying, and foremost, and this goes for Trump as well. How can we hold them accountable for whatever it is that they're proposing they're going to do in the event that they don't do it? That's what we always need to be taking a look at. How we hold any one of them accountable. So, again, we're gonna be all right, family. What's the name? What's our website? Lucifer's Revenge. www.lucifersrevenge.net. Go check that book out. Order it on Amazon, hardback or ebook. Very affordable. But like Pop said, you want to get this in the hands. For one, you want to hold it almost like it's a relic, but you also want to gift it to the younger generation. I promise you, the information that we put in it, once they read it, there is no way they can be deceived anymore. Right? No way they can be deceived anymore. Also, too, go get Chairman Terrence Lake's book, God's Child. as well. All right. With those two combination of books, you'll be well equipped to handle this ascension process, this transcendence journey that we're going on for the next 100 years and beyond. But so land that plane. This has been the Straight Talk Network show. Peace and love, family. We love you. We'll see you next week.
Peace out.
Peace.
Salute.